So we're currently on stage 4 load shedding, and as we battle through these extreme power cuts to essentially protect the grid from collapsing under too much demand for power, there's some hope from PetroSA, that's government's oil company. They're planning to use the excess gas produced by the Mossel Bay oil-to-gas plant. Let's find out how it all could work and how soon it might be able to feed more power into the grid. I'm joined now by PetroSA COO, Sesakho Magadla. Thank you so much for joining us. This is potentially hopeful news, and we certainly need the light at the end of the tunnel. Talk to us about how this plan for gas-fired power plants actually could work.
Okay, for Mossel Bay, there's just one plan. We want to use the gas that is remaining in our fields, which is give or take about 100 billion scarves, which would enable us to feed a plant up to about 180 megawatts in Mossel Bay. That gas is already in the field, ready to be produced. It would go through the FA platform. If you see over this shoulder, the other behind me on the left shoulder is the FA platform. It will go through that FA platform, which is 60 kilometers located from the GTL refinery, which is the shoulder on the right.
Yeah.
There, that gas is ready. It's connected with the pipeline, but to be able to produce that gas, it would take us about 18 to 24 months because we need to do some major maintenance work and some minor modifications to the FA platform. The FA platform is the rig on the left, and then also some minor modifications in terms of installing a modular unit for producing power on the right-hand side, which is the facility on the right, which is the GTL refinery.
Okay.
So that is for Mossel Bay. But parallel to that, as PetroSA, we are also embarking on making sure that we abide by all the regulations, which means we need the trading license for the gas. And that trading license for the gas, if people have read the Sunday Times, we advertised in the NERSA advertised in the Sunday Times that we've initiated the process to apply for a gas trading license. That is very important for the industry, because the industry was affected by concerns in terms of the security of supply. And for them, that security of supply for the gas, when Sasol, I think in 2022 or 2021, issued letters indicating they cannot secure supply going forward as the field in Pande and Damane is depleting. We've been, as part of our responsibility as the Central Energy Fund and the PetroSA, who are tasked with security of supply, we have been engaging tirelessly with ENH, where we know beyond the concession that Sasol has currently, there is future gas supply to make sure that the market is kept wet and it has the gas that it requires. It carries the 76,000 jobs that are affected in South African context. It also continues to contribute about 350 billion to the fiscus of South Africa. That is both combination of gas industrial users as well as anyone that's using gas.
Okay.
Now, it is key for us to be able to supply all the players in terms of the gas. So we would really encourage the industry to respond to the public advert issued by NERSA so that we are in a position to secure affordable gas supply for long-term supply.
Okay.
And
You've told me so much, and I need to break it down because it's so easy for you, but I just need to understand how this works. So you've shown me that is that a fixed gas platform, the picture of that behind you, in the sea, that is getting gas out of the ocean already, correct?
That is correct. That's for Mossel Bay.
So you're saying that there's excess gas that can be used to actually create electricity. Does that mean that you actually don't need to go through any further sort of environmental approvals because the infrastructure is already there?
Ideally, we should not be going through the EIA. We are engaging so that can be accelerated, because by producing power of 150 to 180 megawatts. When the plant was running, it was already producing about 110 to 120 megawatts. And the emissions that will be, the emissions that we will see when we're producing a gas of 150 to 180, that should not be a major impact, because that should be really covered within the current framework of the existing agreements.
All right.
However, in our engagement, it has become quite evident that we still need to resubmit some of the applications. But I do believe that when the parties sit, the authorities as well as the environmental lobbyists need to keep in mind that this is not us producing electricity from the Mossel Bay plant is not different from what we were designed to in terms of utilizing that gas, because you are already utilizing the existing gas from the existing wells, using the existing infrastructure within the limits of the existing licenses. So that could be, when all those factors are considered, that gives room for accelerating the EIA approval process.
That makes sense.
Initiating that process.
Okay,
yes.
I'm just going to jump in because we are running out of time, and it's fascinating, in fact. So you're hoping that because a lot of it is existing infrastructure, you won't have to do sort of too much extra work in terms of the environmental approval. You've mentioned that you've got to go through NERSA, that trading license for the gas is required. Talk to me about how much it's going to cost, who's paying for it?
How much is what going to cost?
To create these gas-fired power stations from the excess gas. I mean, how does it get onto the grid? There must be a cost. Who's going to pay for it?
I can't share the numbers right now, but the project can definitely finance itself, because the cost, the payment, the recovery for the investment that will be made for this power plant will ultimately translate to the tariff that the electricity will be sold for. So that tariff would be, we don't keep spares. So if one way of shortening that would have to, we go directly to the OEMs that are producing these materials so that we can accelerate to shorten that 18-month period. That is really the biggest headache, is how quickly can I execute the material, that the waiting time for the material is my biggest pain in terms of the execution of the project.
Well,
the checkbook.
I'll let you get back to that, because clearly there's a lot to be done. But do keep us posted, because these are the sort of innovative projects that may well, if they pass all the regulatory approvals, actually give us some hope around this electricity crisis. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. That's PetroSA Chief Operating Officer Sesakho Magadla. Now, let's